Jess Cow. Jess is the new, very long title, so I'm making up my own version of it. She is the new B2B marketing transformation evangelist for Adobe. Jess is just wonderful and thoughtful. She's been a customer of mine for many, many years at many different companies, including Adobe. She's just a customer today, and she brings a really fresh perspective on many things and is always happy to share her perspective. Again, please.
Thanks, Frannie. This is the amazing AJ, and I actually don't know what your title is for.
Hey, man.
What is your title for? Marketing technology. Marketing technology guru at Ford. And if we're still going through the confessions, I do have a confession, which is I had the opportunity to hire AJ, and my biggest regret was not hiring AJ. I'm sorry. I know, right? Boo me. Biggest mistake in my career. But AJ is at Ford, and he is amazing, and he is looking for his next amazing opportunity. So if anyone knows of anyone, he's in need of an amazing marketing. Okay, so.
Well, thank you. There's a lot of amazing to live up to. I'm back to Trainer's Training. I had the pleasure of being a customer of Frannie's years ago in Poly, and it was a wonderful relationship because as a technology person and very spending a lot of time thinking about ROI of technology, and when you have a service that very literally pays for itself and then some, and they help you to see exactly that, it's a great situation to be in, and I really enjoy working with her and her team, and she's awesome, great at relationships and understanding your space. So,
All right, so now you know who we are, and we want to make this a little bit interactive. So the title of this was AI Marketing: Two Truths and a Lie. So I'm going to ask one question as we get started, and again, this is a safe space, so all answers are fine. But is anyone in this room not currently using AI for marketing?
And willing to admit it. I took it.
Okay, we have 100% there. Wow. El Serum being shy. Here's Spirit. Sparingly. Yeah, that's okay. When the spirit, more sparingly. So here's the next question, and feel free to shout out answers. Who is actually having anxiety about using AI in marketing today? Yeah, more of the commonality, I think. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So we're gonna go to two questions, two truths and a lie. We're each gonna say one, so try that. Not reveal our faces. So I think AJ, you're going first. So you think about all three of these statements, and then we'll go through the prompts and we can vote.
all right, statement number one. In the next 2 years, more marketing teams will hire prompt engineers than brand strategists.
You're their lie. Okay. Second one is AI will make your junior marketers obsolete in favor of smaller, highly specialized teams.
And number three, creative directors are becoming more valuable than ever because AI can't replicate originality. So, two truths and a lie. Which do you think is the lie? 1, 2, or 3?
One. All
Who says what?
AJ.
AJ's a lie. So
She said so. Going with 2. And who said 2? I'm gonna say 2. And who thinks 3? All right, I'll. You 2.
who didn't vote?
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So whomever is the false, please stand up.
Oh, false? Oh, that's me.
Yeah. So all right, number 2.
That's number 2.
Sorry, AJ.
But we'll elaborate.
So the lie. AI will make junior marketers obsolete in favor of smaller, highly specialized teams. It's interesting because I think I think there's kind of two camps that are out there right now, which is AI, and I've seen it where AI is like, okay, we don't need to hire, I've experienced it myself. Like, hey, we don't need to hire the 50 open headcount that we have for BDRs sitting under marketing. We don't need to hire the 50. We can just have AI. And then there's a couple of stats out there that I've seen, which is the companies that are using AI to replace are seeing 1 to 2% growth. I mean, it's all so new. And then the people that the companies that are using AI to enhance, right, to enhance the existing people are seeing more of that 5x, 10x growth. So the idea that AI is going to replace, and I think it was a quote, I forget if it was a quote from the Anteriad CEO or whoever out there, but it was, AI isn't coming out to replace your jobs, but the person using AI is going to replace you. And I think that's where that, the difference is. But I do think there is, and we can get into the discussion around how AI affects your team and your culture and things like that. There's a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty. And one of the bigger things that I've seen, and speaking to a lot of CMOs in terms of, okay, there's a mandate to use AI, but when you start going double click down into, your leaders and then the people that are on the boots on the ground that are actually implementing AI, is that there's so much fear and hesitancy to even adopt AI. So you can buy all the tools, you can have all the budgets, but the people that are executing the campaigns, a lot of what we're seeing is that, they're very hesitant to adopt it because they're so afraid. It's like, well, my, content writers, my job I'm going to be replaced. And so there's a hesitancy to even adopt the tools. And so I'm seeing that a lot in the field.
Yeah, I think that what we'll see is that there are going to be some companies that do take the approach of replacing junior copywriters in different roles with AI. But I think that what you'll find is that possibly in the short term and long term, those companies will actually struggle because AI needs their human minds, especially right now as there's still a lot of issues with hallucinations. There's content that's being developed that isn't accurate. It isn't the brand voice. You still need a lot of that guidance from humans. And I think when you see the companies that adopt AI to augment the human factor, to speed up some of the work and to aid them, those are the companies that in the long term that's going to be a sustainable model. And the short term, especially in tough economic times, they say, oh, we're going to cut headcount, we're going to replace it with AI, we don't need people to do this if we can drop this into ChatGPT. Those businesses are going to ultimately struggle and deal with a lot of backlash and consequences from the errors that come around the AI adoption too aggressively.
So the key word is
Goes this way.
yeah, go.
How could you possibly know? I said, I think. Oh. That's my prediction. Sorry, this looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a lot of work with
The operational aspects of TMMs and how processing workflows and how we look at skills and how we align with the work that needs to be done. And that's my view, is that you're not going to have just a drop-in replacement of this AI is not going to replace 2, 3, 4 people for the work. I think you're going to have those challenges. I mean, look at the example of the airline that had the chatbot to be able to run information about refund policies and what they had to deal with in that. And there's instances of kind of all the time of those errors. So if you have those that input from a human going into the AI and the output being reviewed by a human, then we can have individually produce more work. But it couldn't be independently running itself right now.
So what I was going to say is why there was a little confusion. Intentionally did that in our statements, but the key word in that second statement was obsolete. That is going to make these junior folks obsolete, and we're of the inadequational. No, well, we don't know that AI in itself as a thing. AI is many things right now. It is not just one, but that it's not going to make jobs completely obsolete. It's going to be transformative for sure, but not make these obsolete. As to your point, also, we're talking marketing right now. There are many industries and many fields out there where AI will replace certain functions or certain capabilities that it can do and can do well. The airline example is a great example. That will get better, but that's a big miss today. So just to get some dialogue going in the room before we go on to our next truth or lie, Anyone want to share their commentary? I mean, the question from everyone using to having a little anxiety over it, please.
Well, coming out of the gates hot with this topic, so it's
And we're first, so I'm sure this is going to evolve today.
it's a pretty exciting day. I'm gonna have to play the contrarian card. I just let go of some baby content writers. I just got rid of the entire BDR department, product marketing. Like, I'd wish that what you said were true. In my heart of hearts, I don't believe it is. I don't know if that is we're talking like minutes before AI is going to be better than the 42-year-old kid who doesn't understand the complex technology. And that was always a part of the bargain, right? You start as a BDR, you don't know your ass on the hole of the ground. It takes 6 months to figure out how to be an adult and where the boundary is of office situation, right? Like, it's training wheels for like bigger and better dicks, say with concept writers. It's just a luxury that you couldn't carry as the economy gets tight. The very first thing to go, we're more vacant before. And the things that AI to do good at overlaps with what they do, is I could save a boatload of money on my Geico or the commercials, but I could just do that like this, and the AI is at least as good. You still need somebody to oversee it. You need an adult in the room to be like, that's not the trade. We're like, that's awkward, and that's obviously, ChatGPT.
So I put a word comment, and then I'd love to hear what other people say, which is what does that do to the talent pool, your talent pool development?
This is my point. Like, how do people come in and get training wheels and then get out in the ascendancy path?
Because you just killed your talent pipeline, right? Where do the future AEs come from? So
And that was going to be my exact question. What does that say for the future of marketing? I mean, if you take marketing out of it, just any hack, any discipline, if you don't have young people coming in that need to be trained, then there is this almost because of AI, it's almost like this distaste for you. We were all there at one point. Everybody treated us like we were disposable because there was so I think as a discipline, we have to say, yes, AI could do that. So do we want to allow that to happen? And I think it's within our control to a degree to say, yeah, I could do it that way, but is that in the best interest of marketing in the long term?
Yeah, and I think that in the example you gave, I mean, it sounds like you made me have like a little bit of a single point of failure, where if the person who's kind of overseeing the AI output, if they would leave, now the AI can't run itself. You don't have somebody there. You don't have a junior person you could promote up to that position. So you've now got a challenge to address.
Spot on.
And then think about that at scale.
Yeah. So again, I'm coming at it from a B2B marketing perspective. If I were Delta Airlines, I would be like, you kids all go home. We'll have the buck to it, because the scale is such that your risk exposure is really, really big. It's not that big of my worry. Right. I'm just looking across our community. I can't think of a single CMO that's added their team in the last 12 months. I would say that probably 50% have cut their teams by a half. Like 100.
But not obsolete.
Not obsolete, but crap. The fact is, they're doing. I talked about a content person. They just don't need the staff, and this is the moment where everybody's being told to do more with less. That's one of the ways it's there.
Right. And I'm sure we'll grow on this as the day goes. See what sparked a lot of conversation, which was the attention. But we were specifically talking about content as one of the functions in marketing. In my humble opinion, and I'm on the sales side of things, but in my own, because watching our own marketing team, it is the sort of path of least resistance to be able to introduce an AI function content. You can input so much to it that you can get good outputs. You still need an adult in the room to be verifying, can be continued. But other functions within marketing, I think, are more challenging as you start to get into data and analytics and privacy. And I know we'll have this challenge at some point today, but I think we all need to be mindful of it, because humans aren't going away. We don't want to all just sit at home and do nothing all day long. We want to be valuable and bring value to people, process, and our organizations. But it's a little scary right now. So I have checked.
So I think that we get a little stuck on the idea that almost like we're delighted
that AI has hallucinations and makes mistakes. And then we focus in on that and go, see, that's why we need humans. But just imagine for a second that a year and a half or so ago, GPT comes out, etc. It didn't hallucinate, and it didn't make mistakes. We'd be having a very, very different conversation. My point is that there are exceptionally smart people out there who are going, there are hallucinations, there are mistakes. We need to fix that. Now, you're talking about a technology that is in such its infancy that to think that in 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, that these problems aren't going to be licked permanently is, I personally, I would feel naive if I thought that. There are, it'd be like going around going, well, who's going to light the candles and the lanterns? We want to work. We're the lantern lighting union. We want to feel valuable, etc. That did not stop us from having a light switch that we flip on where 90% of people have no idea how electrons are moving through those wires and what Edison did and why that light is lighting up. And I think we are headed toward this because there are massive economic interests at stake that say, I'm not going to let a few hallucinations and the fact that I don't know who will ask the first question and hit enter and initiate the cascade, what comes out of AI. I'm not going to let that stop the potential of AI. I'll build an agent that can take on that role next and keep evolving in its intelligence. And I think that trend-wise, that's where we're headed. That's where the economics are. That's where the dollars are. That's where the push is. The things we're talking about in this room are the friction against it, but they're not the main driver. The driver is the economics and brains behind developing it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, and I don't want to act like I was focusing on the FUD of the situation, but I think that one of the aspects to keep in mind is that this is artificial intelligence, and it's based on learning from the past and applying logic. And I think that pretty much this entire room can say that there's a human aspect to creativity, that adaptation of what you've learned, and I think that's where there's always going to be a need for a human touch. And you look at the backlash on AI-generated cold emails and AI-generated LinkedIn posts and stuff like that. And I think that that's definitely going to get better, but I feel like there's always going to be this human creativity. How do we adapt? How do we create new trends? How do we create things that did not exist before? And that's where, the hallucinations aside, the unique human is involved in how we use the AI.
I'll just say quickly for a fun little thought, when the photograph came out, all the art we're about to see later today, in some kind of profound way, is in dialogue with the photograph, right? There wasn't contemporary abstract art before there was a photograph. And so I always talk about that as a potential corollary where it's like, you can't make better art than a photograph up until the photograph, right? You know what I mean? Right. And then, it was all in pursuit of that kind of perfection and craft. And then human beings took it into a different place, try to illustrate the interior, circumstances and as it moderates.
Here's where I think the trend will be. If we look, in my crystal ball, my opinion, which is we're going to have AI. They're going to make all this content. We're still not going to read it because we're going to have our own AI agent represent us to go read the AI generated content. And we're going to go full circle. There'll be consolidation. And at some point, we will come back to valuing the human to human connection. And I think we are going to come out of this having more that spark of creativity of how do we connect as humans in an age of AI where the AI agents will just talk to each other. The brand AI will talk to my AI representative in my email because I won't read emails anymore. We'll just respond in my voice and in my avatar. But then we will still crave that human to human connection and we'll swing right back around to being with people. But Stephen.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I always think about these sales in terms of which hats do you wear. So we're wearing a CMO hat, but we also have the obligation to wear an enterprise hat. So when you think about kind of as a CMO, you're sitting down with your CBO and your CFO, how do you it's about balancing. We're replacing bets on AI to increase kind of the effectiveness of marketing returns, but also kind of hedging a little bit of the bets on what you were saying, kind of the full cycle. So I think it's a little bit of you got to play because you want to show kind of those gains and you want to show that efficiency, but you also have to think of how do you protect the future with both of those houses.
So I had one more tangent to that, which is the end customer. It'd be B2C, I don't care who it is, but think about how you feel as a consumer of anything when you get a message that you know was generated by AI, is not up late, doesn't know you, makes you feel uneasy. Again, it will get better in time, for sure, Lo, I'm not discounting that, but I think it is definitely going to go full circle, but you have to think about how your end user feels about everything that's going on and high level skepticism now. And look, us in this room, we're probably on the cutting edge of this and we're Jimmy in and we're understanding, and some of us are feeling well more advanced, even so, but think about the average consumer that's out there for anything where they are today. They're definitely not what we are.
Touching on the industry though, like for sure, you know, if it's me getting my oil changed, yeah, I don't care if they know me personally. I don't care if it sounds personal. As long as the oil got changed, they didn't screw up my engine, I'm blown away. You know what I mean? But everything, healthcare, different story. You know, so I think every industry is going to come back to assess what part of the spectrum they want to be. You know, I mean, not to ball from this tangent, but just think about healthcare and science. I mean, AI has the opportunity to significantly advance and exacerbate research and cures to diseases well beyond what humans have been able to do. And that's going to mean a whole other. Yeah. All right. Let's go to Gordon.
Yeah, you got to
Okay.
That's
fine. Maybe we won't even do our next question. Let's just keep talking.
Or you can just do the question, but then we want to Q&A.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask how you. I used to manage a BDR team. You said you cut the whole carbon basically. Here's how you do it. It's because no one picks up the phone anymore, so you just do it like AI messaging.
Okay. Yeah, the people at the office, it became really hard to think about. Oh, yeah, you see, your mobile rings, and you don't know that, meaning you're not answering survey.
Oh, they localize the number, so I pick up.
Right. Did you know your kids' school calling?
Fair point, though. It's not like I hate to say it, but like humans aren't that good at either. I feel like you're around and they're like scared chickens that they actually got them. And the same with a lot of content. Before AI, a lot of content in the B2B space, or certainly the technology benefit, is shit. And it's not like...
That's a really good point. I mean, how many times do you get an email where do you think that was way too long? Didn't this person know better to be more concise? Or that was way too flat and boring. If I were interested, I would have reached out, etc. These aren't the AI generated ones. AI generated or no, what is the optimum length? Can take into account the background of your conversation, history, your style, whether you're a thinker person, whether you're an empathizer, whether you're a doer, etc., the kind of style you will respond to, and not perhaps to be restricted by the BDR's particular personality and their inclination, them trying to impose their style on you. So, I mean, and again, in its infancy, and you could sit there, even with a GPT today, and give it the background on, I'm going to tell you the 4 types of interaction styles that people have. I want you to digest all of this previous content and tell me the best way to phrase this, getting this person's emotional makeup and interaction style. I don't even know if AI agents in B2B are yet doing that, but if they were, that would already be like a big step forward in a way that be very hard for a human being to put aside their own preferences in order to interact in a completely different way.
I mean, I see some companies where, okay, the future is that we will treat these agentic AIs as your coworkers for externalities with like KPIs. And that is going to be, I don't have the answer, but that's going to be a very interesting role, right?
But it's also a lonely world, right? I mean, we create human interaction. All right, let me do the question. We can just answer it and then we do commentary. AJ, your one?
Yeah, right.
All right, two truths and a lie.
The average marketing team uses over 20 AI-powered tools across content, analytics, and ops.
Many marketers choose AI tools based on word of mouth and LinkedIn buzz, not rigorous testing.
There's already one best-in-class AI platform that can handle everything a marketer needs. Thank you guys. Very clever.